So, hello everyone. It is day 8 of rehearsals. The final kind of day, really, of kind of second rehearsals now at this point. The only things that we don't know that much about are the interval acts, the way that the hosts are hosting, and eventually what the final results are going to be. So, I guess it's kind of a bit like it's all getting real at this point. But yes, so today we had the second rehearsals from the automatic qualifiers or the so-called Big Five, plus the host country of the Netherlands. Um, what did you guys sort of make of the whole day then, in our sort of final day?
It was a very quick day, but it was quite a fast-paced day as well, because unlike what we've been doing for the second rehearsals for the first and second semi-final, we also had to go to press conferences today because the Big Five are drawing their halves. So it's been quite a quick day, but quite a hectic one at the same time.
Yeah, honestly, there's not really been a huge amount that I've not expected today. Like, no one's really pulled a surprise out of the bag. Everyone has just come and done pretty much exactly what they did for the first rehearsals and just really sort of tidied it up and polished it, which I guess is nice for everyone because they've sort of come knowing exactly what they want to do and generally been able to realize that on stage.
Yeah, it came across really well that at this point they know what they're doing. It's just at this case of like kind of fine tuning and tweaking just the little things that need doing. So it's not too bad. Yes, I mean, we have results now. We now know where they are going to be. All of the big five plus, well, all of the big five, with the exception of the UK and Spain, are going to be in the second half of the second semi-final. Not second half of the second semi-final. What am I on about?
Second half of the final.
Second half of the final. It's been nothing but like semi-finals
Semi-final.
recently. But yes, so Italy, the Netherlands, France, and Germany are all going to be performing in second half of the final, and Spain and the UK are going to be performing in the first half. So, what are initial impressions of that?
A lot of people have said they're quite worried about the UK and Spain, but I'm kind of not. I think the UK being away from other big favourites such as Spain and Italy will benefit. Not Spain and Italy, Italy and France will benefit. And I think with Spain, I think there's so much in Spain's staging and Blas's vocals that juries will have to respect Blas. And I think no matter where he performs, he will get some credit off the juries, you would hope.
Honestly, if Spain and the UK are or well, rather, the UK and Spain are our 1 and 2 in the final, I'm not going to be shocked in the slightest. I could really see Embers being an opener, and I can kind of see Voy a Quedarme as the second placer. Honestly, I'm less worried about them from the draw and more worried about them from the rehearsals and the news we have had in the press conferences today, which I think there's been a little bit of an outcry about. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be getting into that.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I think overall it's not a bad thing. I kind of called it that Spain and the UK were the only two that were going to get first halves because the first four press conferences were Italy, Germany, Netherlands, and France, all of whom had got the second half. So it was just a matter of time as to someone was going to have to go with the first half. But you know what? I wouldn't be too much. I wouldn't be complaining too much if the UK was to open it, then followed by Spain, because we've seen it before. Like we know that the flow of a Eurovision show. You start off with something high octane, something with a lot of like energy going to get the crowd going, and then in second place you put something a little bit slower just to kind of slow things down a little bit, and it automatically fits into that mold. So I don't see why it wouldn't be Spain, or sorry, no, the UK, then Spain. So, I mean, I am open to being completely proved wrong, but we only won't know what the situation is and what the final running order is until after the two semi-finals when we know who the finalists are. So,
and we know what halves they have.
That in it, there's so many possibilities. It's actually horrific. But Yes. So let's just get straight into it. What was your highlight out of the day?
Just Blast in general. I went to his press conference and I feel like finally Rosie and Rory can send me to horny jail.
Yay!
Join
Welcome
us,
to the club.
join us, join us.
He is a beautiful man, especially in HD. So I'm just going to say my highlight of the day was Blast.
That and no one else, nothing else, just that.
Nothing else.
So I feel like, again, it's kind of hard to choose a highlight. It's really difficult. I don't want to cop out and say Italy again. Okay, I'm gonna have a double. I'm gonna say Italy because that was just fantastic. It was so polished. It was basically the first rehearsal, just completely elevated. They absolutely know what they're doing, and it was wonderful. And also it was at 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday. That was everything I needed to wake me up. But then everything that came after from Germany was everything that needed to get me in a good mood for the day. Like, he was just bringing ounces and ounces of positivity. And honestly, I think he has more energy in those 3 minutes than I have in a week. And I'm very jealous of him, but also it was just a lovely thing to see first thing on a Saturday morning. And also, again, Jendrik's press conference and Måneskin's press conferences were also both just really lovely.
Oh, I mean,
I think just speaking of Jendrik, I think Jendrik's one I could see close in the final just to try and end the final on a positive note, quite potentially.
Not to mention as well, given the fact that they've put Denmark at the end of the semi-final, so they're completely open to being unpredictable. So
I'm sort of seeing it opening the second half. I could see sort of they have a bit of a break in the middle of the halves, and then so they have a bit of time in the green room and everything like that, and then they're like, okay, now we're going to get back to the music. Here's Germany. I could really see them doing that.
Possibly. I mean,
there's possibilities for Germany as well.
Yeah,
they're running order.
I wouldn't put them in like one of the golden spots though, between 17 to 22. It wouldn't really work in that kind of flow, I don't think. But yeah, my highlight for today, I wish I could say Netherlands again, because that story was absolutely amazing. And you know, they've worked so hard on like just working the little tweaky bits. It just came together so much more cohesively this time around. But I think my favorite is just going to have to be France. France, like Barbara gave stunning performances each time. It sounded as if she was crying by the end of it herself, you know, and given the nature of the song, you know, she's literally showing off who she is in all respects, because in one of the run-throughs, we accidentally got a little bit of a nip slip from Barbara, and I don't think she knew that, but you could just see it kind of casually just there. Hopefully she kind of realized it, but I really just think this could be the one to beat, really, for me. Like they've not changed much from the national final staging, but don't fix what's not broken, you know. They've really just like honed in certain bits, and she said in her press conference, everything that they wanted to tweak worked well, and came out perfect. So I think they are pretty much ready to go, and I think should people access this, and perhaps maybe in the midst of all of the the bangers and the up-tempo songs, this comes out and wins it, I am not going to be mad at all. Anyway, let's change it up a little bit. Who is your low light from the day?
It's really, really hard to say this, because I understand why there's no pyro, but in a song called Embers, you would expect there to be pyro. And there's not going to be any, for health and safety reasons, which I perfectly understand. I just think I'm upset by the whole concept of having a song called Embers, no pyro.
It's like, who would win? Some fantastic visual effects with huge visual impact, or two trumpety boys. Honestly, the UK, what the fuck are you doing? And okay, I'm also going to say that because I was in Måneskin's and Jendrik's press conferences, I only saw James's first run, and that vocally was not it. Like, I don't know if there were problems anywhere. I don't know what was causing it. I don't know if it was just him not trying to give as much energy as he wanted to hold some back. It was not it. And I have heard from the lovely humans at that Eurovision site and also elsewhere on the internet that his third run was vocally much stronger, which is lovely to hear. But yeah, I'm just utterly despairing at the UK right now. Seriously. And I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
It's like we keep saying music's not fireworks, but
you want it to be fireworks.
Fireworks.
He literally set out to write a dance floor banger and wrote one he did, and now they're just not staging it properly. And I'm just gonna, like, you see that window right there? You see that window, that beautiful view? I'm gonna yeet myself out of that window.
That's what I'm looking, that's the content that I'm going to be looking for. No, my low light, I'm going to deviate from you guys. Like, I personally didn't mind the UK's staging, and you know, his vocals were fine by the end of it. I mean, at the start they were a little bit shaky, but that's usually just the case for everyone. I'm gonna have to say Germany in this, because as we were talking about vocals, you could kind of sound, it came out just a little bit as if throughout the rehearsals, each run through, that Jendrik was just getting progressively more out of breath when he was doing, and he was doing a lot more choreography than we had seen him do in the first rehearsal. So it's a little bit like you could just about handle it in the first one, so why would you add more that could potentially jeopardize your chances? It's not really something that I've been too fussed on, to be honest, but I want them to do well. I do want them to do well, because I think everyone is fairly underrating this now. And the actual stage show itself is actually quite nice. It's just the one problem is just the choreography and his vocals. So if they can tweak that, maybe make him do less choreography so that it's not so taxing on his voice, then that's going to be fine. Yeah.
Like, I noticed in the run through that he was relying a lot more on the backing vocals towards the end of the song, and I was a bit like, yeah, he's getting tired, and that's not what you want, especially if it's if he performs towards the end of the show. Like, I suspect he may already be tired when he goes on stage, because it could be like 10:30 Rotterdam time.
Who knows?
Well, he says he's going to get some training in before the show, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, because we only want the best for each artist. So
yeah.
Yeah. So what are we going to how are we going to predict this? I think, who do you think is going to do the best out of all of the big five plus the host country?
Oh God, I think Italy or France will actually win Eurovision, so it's very hard to say. And I do think it's quite an even keel at the moment. It could really be either one of them. So yeah, it's really hard to call.
I'm sort of expecting France to very likely win the jury vote. I mean, it's got some stiff competition, probably from Malta, but I am expecting France to do very well with the juries. Whether that will lead to France winning overall or not will very much then depend on how the public receive the song. And I think that's sort of where the uncertainty lies. I can see the public receiving Italy very well, but I don't necessarily know if the juries will. So it's difficult. I
Because,
think
like,
Italy will probably do better than France in the public vote, but whether the difference between the two will make one of them the winner or not is another matter.
because you've kind of got to throw in like the possibilities of Iceland and Malta, who are probably, the way Iceland have staged their song, the juries are probably going to be a lot more towards them, and the televote's probably going to like Malta more than they do, because Destiny just brings her whole personality. So
and not to mention Bulgaria or
Switzerland.
potentially Switzerland, depending on how people take to the more avant-gardeness of the staging.
And I don't think you can ever underestimate Lithuania's televote power typically. So now that they've sent an entry that is really good, I wouldn't count Lithuania out the televote either.
Plus Russia and Ukraine for being so visually and audibly out there as well. I think this year has just proven that this is one of the most open years, I think, in a very, very long time. Who could end up winning the whole competition comes down to literally who qualifies from the semi-final. Because if Switzerland doesn't make it, then it's literally France's and like Malta's for the taking.
I do not see a universe where Switzerland does not make the final. I don't.
You don't see a two-loony there where Switzerland doesn't.
Absolutely
yes, don't worry.
not. Like, if that happened, I would eat my shoe. Like, I would be so shocked.
Oh, hang on. We've got some breaking news here.
Oh.
We've got an email from the Eurovision Song Contest, the press at Eurovision.tv. They've issued a statement about the Polish delegation. I'm just going to read it out now. You guys are hearing this just as I'm reading this. During a routine test upon arrival on the Eurovision Song Contest venue on Saturday, the 15th of May, a member of the Polish delegation tested positive for COVID-19. They had last been at the venue on Thursday when the whole delegation were in possession of a negative COVID-19 test. In accordance with our health and safety protocol, this person has now gone into isolation. As a precautionary measure in the run-up to the show week, the other members of the delegation will now undergo a PCR test and go into quarantine. As a result of this, the Polish delegation will not attend the Turquoise Carpet event in person on Sunday, the 16th of May. We will have further updates in due course, and our best wishes for the whole delegation. So, potentially, if Poland tests positive, we won't get to see them perform live on stage.
But they did record new live on tapes on their third runs, so at least we'll see them on the actual Eurovision stage.
Yeah. So at least there's someone there that's, you know, some kind of presence of them, I guess. So yeah.
And
the live journalists, live news, all this kind of weird stuff.
And we wish everybody well in the Polish delegation.
Yeah, we
do.
Best wishes to everybody in the Polish delegation, obviously Rafał as well, because this must be devastating for him.
Yeah. Fingers crossed they all test negative, in which case then, you know,
we'll see him in semi-final too.
Yeah, exactly. But we will wait and see. Anyway, that is going to take us to the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and all of that jazzy as well. So make sure that that's all there. Please follow us on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at That Euro Site. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well as That Euro Podcast. So please follow us over there as well. And I guess tomorrow, like, it is going to be the kind of turquoise carpet thing. So potentially we might do something like that. But if not, we will be live tweeting for the jury semifinals on Monday. And we'll also be offering our predictions as who we think who could qualify from semifinal 1. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, if you have any other questions or anything like that, please feel free to drop them in the comments as well. You know, we're always welcome to get involved with other people. So yeah, shall we all say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Bye.